All eyes on Vladimir Putin's speech on Russia's Victory Day. Western officials have suggested that Putin may use the mega event to repackage the war in Ukraine. Dramatic options could include escalation through a formal declaration of war or general mobilization, or de-escalation by proclaiming victory. Alternatively, Putin could offer up a sandwich that praises the Russian army's victory while preparing the population for a grinding and painful conflict as status quo. Ukrainian officials in particular have warned that Putin is planning to announce a mass mobilization or even to declare war against Ukraine. Putin may also call up personnel and resources that were untapped so far. The move can come under Russia's so-called special operation that began on the 24th of February. Putin may also use the opportunity to issue a fresh nuclear dare to the West. Geeta Mohan is getting us more details. She joined us from Moscow. I'm also going to go across to my colleague Rajesh Pawar, who continues to be in Ukraine. Geeta, first, a lot of speculation about what Putin essentially is going to talk about today, because that message really from the President of Russia is going to give a direction about the trajectory of this invasion that began on the 24th of February. Geeta, in a bit from now, I don't think Geeta can hear us, but also if I can try to go across to Rajesh Pawar. Rajesh, Ukraine, like the rest of the world, is going to watch today's developments very closely, because the message from Russian President essentially is going to be directing the trajectory of this invasion and what to expect next.
True. What Mr. Putin will say today after this victory parade will be very important, and it will be watched by everyone in Ukraine, across the world in fact, because this war is not only affecting Ukraine, it is affecting the whole world, be it the price rise, be it petroleum, be it everything, and the security of Europe and the whole world in fact. And what is expected is maybe that from special operations which Russia launched on 24th of Feb, there are chances that Putin might declare war on Ukraine in this speech. This is what is expected. Also, we're seeing that it is a huge celebration, but the number of vehicles and people participating in this victory parade today is little less than what it was last year. And the reason for that is probably that a lot of these troops and this equipment, military equipment, is right now on the front lines involved in the war effort. Over to you.
Yes. Also do talk to us a little about the situation as far as Ukraine is concerned, how Kyiv stands tall and how the strategic port city of Mariupol is in complete shambles. It's in a rubble. The people had to be evacuated. The civilians had to be evacuated. Yesterday, Zelensky spoke about it. Give us an idea of the current situation as we speak, Rajesh.
Russians are organizing some kind of victory parade, and this is the biggest prize so far in this war for Mr. Putin. As far as Azovstal, the steel plant, where some civilians and Ukrainian forces were stuck, it's still under siege. Heavy bombardment is going on the steel plant, but all the civilians, elderly, children have been evacuated from that steel plant as confirmed by the Ukrainian authorities. But a lot of fighters from Azov battalion and Ukrainian army are still stuck in that plant, and there have been appeals by these people through their Facebook posts, and they conduct a kind of press conference yesterday through Zoom. And they have made an appeal that all their wounded and medics should be at least allowed to leave this Azovstal steel plant. Over to you.
Rajesh, be with us. I'll just come back to you. Geeta Mohan is with us from Moscow as well, getting us more on that story. Geeta, like we've been talking about since yesterday, the Victory Day is an important day and also marks, this time around, it assumes a greater amount of significance given the situation in Ukraine and the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Whatever the president essentially of Russia, Vladimir Putin, says today is going to be giving the world a sense of direction, an idea about what to expect next as far as the invasion of Ukraine is concerned.
Well, that's right, Sneha. In Moscow over here, the scenes are quite different from that of Ukraine. We are looking at people over here who are lining up to just enter the Red Square. You see security clearances, and only those with passes are being allowed in. So the Red Square is still not filled up. Slowly but steadily, people entering, whether they're officials, generals, local people, young cadets, all of them trying to enter the Red Square, those who have permissions. The rest of them will be in the streets of Moscow and will witness the parade, because the parade is going to go through some very key important roads, and the routes are specified. So preparations and all set to witness the Victory Day parade. And like you said, it is a very significant one this year, because Russia is at war, and is the reason why the military vehicles and the personnel this time around are lesser than last time, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. There were 12,000 last time. This time around 10,000 are participating. 191 military vehicles last time, around 129 this time. And that shows that yes, the military force is pressed into action and is at the borders. So that's why lesser numbers, but not significantly less. On the question of what President Putin is going to say, there is a lot of speculation. Some say that he is going to declare war, that there is going to be some announcement about further action against Ukraine. But yes, the gains have not been significant. They, according to the Ukrainian side, or for that matter the West, Neha. But if you look at the situation on the ground, either which way there is a lot of loss of land for Ukraine. Will Russia return that land? That's the big question. And in that, President Putin will certainly be mentioning Ukraine and the war with Ukraine, but there is going to be a lot of conversation. He is going to reassert the idea of the Soviet Union, and it's the reason why I have been saying this all along, that if you see all the flags over here are not just Russian flag, they're also the Soviet victory flag, reasserting that they were part of the Soviet Union. So he is going to make some significant statements on the idea of the Soviet Union. And beyond that, we will again have to wait and see whether if there's going to be some major announcement with regards to the war. There certainly is going to be some major conversation or statements with regards to the war, but whether there's going to be declaration or further action, that we'll have to wait and see.
You know, Geeta, as far as Russia's own population is concerned, a huge chunk of people there believe from, and this is what I understand from the reports that all of you have been sending, that many people are against Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the kind of human devastation this war has led to, essentially. Do you think that Putin is going to be using this as an opportunity to talk about the West and the manner in which the West has been keeping its eyes on Ukraine? Or is Putin going to essentially go ahead and justify why this invasion was important to its own population?
Both, Sneha. In a way, yes, he is going to talk about why this was essential. He will be talking about, could mention NATO and the expansion, which puts Russia's existence at risk. And when you talk about your country being at risk, the country's existence being at risk, you do see people come together, rally behind the leader. But yes, there are mixed feelings over here. While they say, most of them you speak to over here on the ground, say that yes, NATO expansion or any military bloc expanding into Ukraine is a concern for Russia, and these are legitimate security concerns. But most of the youngsters over here have also said that in the 21st century, no country should be going to war. That war is not a justifiable act, no matter what the other country or the neighbor is doing. There could have been other means. So yes, there are varied points. There have been protests in some protests across the city, but they've been in spurts and very small in number. Apart from that, when it comes to the idea of unification of Russia or the idea that Russia is under threat, most of them do believe that any kind of expansion of NATO or any such anti-Soviet military bloc into Eastern Europe, or for that matter Ukraine, is a concern.
All right, Geeta, we leave it at that for the moment. We'll of course keep coming back to you. Remember, Geeta is in Moscow, where the Victory Day parade is taking place. All eyes on what President Vladimir Putin of Russia has to say on this important day for Russia.